All right, I'm going to start Conrad's Fantasy Next Millennium alpha testing, and this will probably be your first look at what is being developed here. Conrad's Fantasy is a game back from 1990. With Conrad's Fantasy Next Millennium, I'm trying to keep the flavor of the original game, and I want the interaction down to the character level that the original game had, but I'm updating it now with the sense that the referee's burden should be totally taken away. The referee is not going to roll damage for the monsters. It will be the players' individuals' actions that are going to cause damage to their characters. And instead of having traits and titles and skills, I just combine them all into one. I'm playing Rojo as always, and I have 26 different skills. Now, I don't just get to pick that I want to be a Myrmidon and I want to be a Warlord. I first have to look at this progression path here. Let me blow it up just a little bit for you. I will start as a Mariner, Soldier, Scout, or Scholar. Now, after I complete a mission or check all 9 of my ignoble deeds, I will move on. Now, I can move on from Mariner to Thief, Armsman, Headman, or Berserker. Or if I chose Scout, I could move on to Duelist, Champion, or Spy. How this changes from the original, though, is if I picked Mariner the first time, when I go up a level, I can go on to Thief, or I can go over and pick Scout and progress up that. When I then get up to level 3, I can move either from Mariner to Headman, or Scout to Champion, or I could decide to be a Scholar. So these skills are amassed one at a time as you go up in levels. So I'm going to start as a Mariner. Let me make a note of that. I am a Mariner. When you look at Mariner, it connects to Thief, Armsman, Headman, and Berserker. As a Mariner, I have elements of a Thief, elements of an Armsman trying to defend my ships, elements of the Headman, whether that be my captain or my clan leader, and elements of a Berserker. If I had chosen Scholar, I'm starting to become a Conjurer, an Ascetic, and a Sorcerer. So I'm a Mariner who's also a Thief, an Armsman, a Headman, and a Berserker. But I'm not there yet. So what I have to do is I have to mark those Armsman and Thief and Headman and Berserker. But I also have to mark them as by affinity. And if I do any action with those, it's going to be with a 2 penalty on my task. Now the task resolution is very basic in this. I'm solo, so it's a 7. Which means whenever I try to do something in the game, whenever I try to use my Mariner skill to move around the map or to make actions inside this underworld I'm about to enter using Mariner-style abilities, maybe I have a grapnel that I carry with me and hurl it into monsters, I would roll 2 dice looking for a 7. Pretty easy, even as I miss. Now, if I ever fail the die, fail to roll that 7, and fail with doubles, then I experience harm. Depending upon whether I'm in an encounter, or whether I'm doing combat, or whether I was using magic, there'll be different types of harm. Those magical mishaps are going to be just as crazy as they were in the original Conrad's Fantasy. I start the game and I get a half D8 in glory pips. 1! Now the glory pip allows me to do 2 things. I can either add it to a die roll. For instance, I could add my single glory pip to that 6 and make it a 7, and that would be successful. Or, in case I rolled something really low, like a 1 and a 1 snake eyes, I can spend a glory pip to change that to a 3, which is not fail with doubles, and therefore I would not suffer any sort of mishap from my roll. The other thing that glory pips can do is they can help you break the laws of the universe, and by breaking those fundamental laws of nature, you can create magic. It is not necessary to have glory pips or even use glory pips to create magic, but it's a lot more dangerous to do so. True magic and the universal laws. Just like in Conrad's Fantasy, you break the natural laws of the universe in order to create magic. You don't have a spell list. It's not going to be something that you memorized and then you're going to forget. The laws of the universe will flow through fixed channels. Things will have fixed identities. Everything has some sort of spirit that defines its identity. All planes of existence are separate and distinct. Each mind controls its own spirit, its own agency, and some things will never be understood. So as an example, I might want to create a force. A force is brought into being that is controlled by the wizard. the amount of force is determined below. This violates Law 1. So if I violate Law 1, I can create a force that could, in my first acts, push a book off a table or shelf, deflect a thrown knife. When I finally get master of these first acts, simply by doing one, I can move on to the safe limit or brazen or even overkill results. I could juggle 3 balls in the air. I could wake somebody unconscious from a distance. I could play a harp quite well. I could hit a man with the force of a battering ram. And depending upon whether I try this incantation of magic by safe limits, brazen, or overkill, original roll, as I said, is a 7 because I'm only one person in my party. If I was like 3 people in my party, the roll would become an 8. If I was 5 people in my party, the roll would become a 9. Those rolls would be increased. I think it's 1, 2, and 3 on the die roll. So you still can make those overkills, but it increases the number of chances that you're going to roll doubles and fail and create a magical mishap. So once I create a first act by breaking the force law, law 4 about the planes of existence, I would then check this so that I know I can do even greater magic afterward. Of course, then there's the 9 ignoble deeds. These are the same that they were in the original game. Do something that's battle, exercise prudence, do some heroics. If once I check all 9 ignoble deeds, then I'll go up a level. Now the wounds are quite simple. Similar to Cutlass, you can take 1 vicious wound, and then when you overflow, you'll be killed. But in this case, you also have lesser wounds underneath vicious. You can have a bleeder wound, and you could take 1 bleeder wound, and then when you take your second bleeder wound, that will overflow to vicious. And likewise, you can have just bruises and cuts. You take a second bruise and a cut, it would flow over to bleeder. You take that second bleeder, it could flow over to vicious, and you take that second vicious and you'll be dead. There's also a 4th category called a spirit wound. You can take 1 spirit wound, but if you take a second, then you're going to go insane. And insane people do not use their skills, so they become pretty much worthless in the game. Now the thing about bruise cut wounds is I might take one in a battle, but if I can get to the very end of the battle, I will remove that bruise cut. So long as I don't get a second in the same battle that'll overflow into a bleeder, I can maintain the single bruise cut, and it will disappear at the end of the battle. This you may remember from other tests I've done in OSR, and I'm going to use the same maps. These are out of Fantasy Nocturne, and I'm also going to use Fantasy Nocturne's 36 Ordeals. Now I move in. Now do I need anything else to play my character? What about my arms? Do I need to write down that I have a sword? Do I need to write down that I have various equipment? True to the original game, your equipment is what you need. We're going to role-play a character, not an equipment list. Your weapons carry what you use and how you describe your actions, because that's the heart of freestyle play. You're not going to just say, I swing my sword, roll 2 dice, see if you hit. If you hit, score some damage. In this case, you're going to perform actions, and I'm going to primarily use easy actions because I'm just starting out. And I will do, for instance, repartee, looking to get a duelist and a berserker roll. Can I even make that? I look at my character. Now I have Berserker by affinity, but I do not have Duelist. So repartee for my character, that's almost impossible. But do I have Berserker and Scout? Nope, no battle cries for me. Berserker and Soldier, can't endure hardship. Berserker and Choice of Profession, now that one is within my wheelhouse. I can describe an action where I'm psyching up and transforming into my game face, and I can cancel the fact if I become unnerved. Now that's one of those harms that can occur. So if I rolled my Berserker, 2 dice for a 9, and my Mariner, Choice of Profession, Mariner is a profession, 2 dice for a 7, by making both of those, I can cancel the fact that I'm unnerved. There's not a whole lot of these I can do. Can I even kill anything in the game? Soldier and Choice of Profession. Well, I cannot actually slay someone directly with the uncontested dagger thrust. But if I do something like, how about Charismatic Style? Choice of Profession twice. Going to see a lot of that in this game. I can rally someone unnerved, not yourself, but there's this little footnote, and the footnote says if no harm has been suffered, in other words, if I don't have that unnerved, this action creates the same result as 17, the uncontested dagger thrust. So I can use my Charismatic Style by, for instance, making that roll of 7 for Mariner and a roll of 9 for Headman. And with Charismatic Style, I can kill one person in the game. So now that we've thoroughly established I can kill one person in the game, and I probably won't become unnerved, what will happen, though, is occasionally I might put myself in an obstacle while I say, well, what do I need to do? Ideally, what you would need to do in this situation is 3. And I would go down to 3. You would need to endure hardship, for instance, maybe to knock this door down. And it would take Berserker and Soldier. Now, I could do the Berserker, but I can't do the Soldier. So I could not make that action, except anyone can use magic in Conrad's Fantasy. And especially at low levels, I want to start testing those first acts. And I may be able to not totally recreate that soldier ability, but create it enough to actually pass this obstacle. So these easy actions can actually be combat actions, or they can be encounters that you have in the game, or they can be used as a tactical game where I'm trying to drill down to the nitty-gritty and remove my stuns when it happens, recover from unnerved, and as a group, we'll be taking these actions and then putting them out in play as we go around the group of players. Now, you'll see a little bit of that in just a moment when I demonstrate the game. But if I was playing with 3 players, and maybe it'd even make more sense the next time I demo this, I show you what a 3-player game would be, is that if Rojo is making his Berserker roll on a 9, he might be playing with Conrad, who's making a Soldier roll on a 7 if he started as a pure fighter type. And the combination of the two can be grabbed from in play. I put Berserker in play, Conrad put Soldier in play, and that way we can endure hardship, and then somebody can shake off a minor injury, whether it occurred to me or to Conrad. Let's test this and see how far I can get. So I go down the stairs here. Now, I deliberately put myself in the North Wardroom. There are a lot of special events that occur in the South, and that probably would be a better way to enter, but let's just go for the direct approach. Now, I could listen at this door. And Mariner, do I have very good hearing? Maybe, maybe not. Let's see if I can justify it another way. So I'm going to listen at this door so I don't get surprised. Elements of old school fantasy gaming here. And I am a thief, but it's by affinity. So I need to roll 2 dice for a 9. 2 dice for a 9. 3! I failed. I failed to listen at a door. Now, when I fail to listen at a door, I just don't have any knowledge of what's behind that door. I rolled a 2 and a 1. It's not doubles and failing. Could I add my 1 glory point and make it a 4? Yes, but that would be dumb. So I don't know what's going in. So I just open and enter in. And suddenly I'm faced with 1 guy behind a barricade here. I'm just going to have to open this up as I need it. 1 guy behind a barricade here, and 1 guy over next to the barrels, the water casks, and they're going to start attacking me. Now, normally in your other favorite roleplay game, they would maybe get surprised since I didn't listen properly. They would roll their d20s to hit, and then after that, they would deliver damage if they did, and then I would attack back. But in this case, we're trying to keep the action, again, focused on the players, and the referee is not going to roll and become the antagonist. He might have to set the challenges. He would pick this map, for instance, for the players to play on, or he would make a map himself. But I would be the first person to take action. And shall we do it tactically? Sure. Didn't we determine that I could actually kill the equivalent of an uncontested dagger thrust with my easy actions, charismatic style? We're going to use that a lot, but because this is an easy one. Choice of profession twice. Now, in this case, I don't need to rally from being unnerved, but if I can roll any of my professions twice, and I have 4 of those professions. Actually, one of them, Headman, is a specialist skill. I think Armsman as well is a specialist skill. Let's double check that. Yeah, Armsman is in the red here. It's a specialist skill. Headman is a specialist skill. But I have Berserker and Thief by affinity, so I can roll for them. So the first thing I would do is I'm going to need 2 rolls. And I would roll all the skills I have. Let's see if I can put Mariner in play on a roll of a 7. 16. Whoo! It'd be nice if I could pick up a glory point every time I roll a 16, but that sort of flair is done by the referee on the fly. But I have made my roll a Mariner. Let's see if I can make another roll like Thief on a 10. 2 dice. A 7, I missed it. But I didn't fail with doubles. Do I have anything else I can try? Well, I could try my Headman, I could try my Armsman, but those 2 skills are specialist skills, and it says I need choice of profession. Can the referee decide to modify the rules and allow any skill in play pass the test? Sure, in solo, maybe I would do that, but let's just, for the sake of the argument, let's see if I can make my Berserker roll on a roll of a 9. Again, I roll 7 on task resolution, but because I'm using the Berserker skill with the affinity, I don't actually have the Berserker skill yet. I'm just using my Mariner skill to give me aspects of that. I would need to roll a 9. 2 dice. 6. And what happened? I fail with doubles. So by failing with doubles, what happens? I get a combat harm. So we go into our little table here, and we go up combat harm. It's going to be a short game. 2 dice. 2 dice on combat harm. I could add my 1 and create that a 7. I wouldn't actually be successful. Let's see what the harm is before we do that. And it is absolutely allowed by the rules. It's going to be a 7. A 7. Suffer a bleeder wound. This wound needs to be staunched now or at last chance right as the battle concludes. So, let's see. A 7, and I take 2 bleeders to be a vicious. I took a bleeder, so let me close my harm table. Let me mark that I have a bleeder, but I can reduce that to bruise cut if I can mitigate it. What would it take to mitigate a bruise cut? Still looking on my table here. Change a bleeder to a bruise cut with scholar and thief. Again, I'm a thief, but not a scholar. That bleeder injury may be staying with me in this solo play. It'd be nice if I had another play with me who could make that scholar. Usually you have a magic using type character. And then I would have to make my affinity roll of a 9 of a thief to throw that in play. Right now, all I have in play is my Mariner skill. Next round, I took my damage. Anything else I can do? Well, I could add Headman, and I could add Armsman to this battle, but it's not going to help me. Not yet. In solo play, if I run into even more trouble, maybe take a vicious wound, maybe I'll cut myself some slack as a referee. I'd go into round 2. Did I make a roll successful? Yeah, I made Mariner successful, so I don't get automatically more harm. And I didn't do something that would cause me automatic harm. I'm still trying to get that 20. That choice 20, my charismatic style activated. Choice of professions twice. Now I go back into turn 2. Now on my second turn, I already have a Mariner in play. I cannot try to put Mariner back in play. What I really want is either Thief or Berserker. But I also have that added problem. If I can get Speed and Guile, if I can get Thief and Scholar in play, I can maybe turn my Bleeder in a Bruise Cut, and after the battle will go. Let's try to get a Thief in play in a roll of a 9. Boy, this game is just gonna... Well, when I'm rolling real dice on the table, I was doing a lot better. Okay, a 2. How about if we take a... and I want to use my... well, let's see how bad it is. Let me roll on my combat harm here. And roll 2 dice. Do I need to nerf this game? No. A 10. A 10. Stunned. All skills in play that match the character's abilities are canceled. There goes my Iron Mariner out of play. All further skills and magic attempts going forward are penalized. Task resolution a 1 higher. My rolls just became 8s and 10s instead of 7s and 9s. Happens twice. Treat as result 11. Now, do I want to cancel that stun, or do I want to fight stun? Let's fight stun. If I die, I die. Now, recover from stun. Berserker and Duelist. I don't have Duelists. Not at level 0 with my Ignobles. I probably, at this point, I probably should be checking Ignoble, saying that things have gone to crap on me. It's certainly taking wounds as heroics. And I can only do that with magic, so I'm going to have to play at a -1 penalty, and my Mariner's out of play. We're going to go round 3. Round 3. Did I want to make a second roll of Berserker right now? I could in round 2. I need a 10. Missed it by 1. Headman and Armsman. Not going to really help me in this battle. I would use them more in an advanced battle. Let me see. Going on to round, is this 3? Round 3, just 3. Oh gosh. Okay, rolling for Mariner again. This time I need an 8. Got my Mariner. Rolling for Thief again. This time I need a 10. Got my 10. Alright, I have Mariner and Thief in play. And what can Mariner and Thief in play give me? Let's see if I can. Choice of profession twice. I could kill one of the 2 guys next to me because of the footnote. It would count as a 17. It would count as an uncontested dagger thrust. I would describe my action when I realize I'm about to win. There's a visible flash even through a black slit of the helm where an adversary's eyes widen and his hands begin to rise and surrender. Now, unlike a typical Q&D where you read the result that's been written inside the manual, here I would actually freestyle and make my own action of describing. So I would describe, for instance, how this barbarian, how he broke his own sword or got his foot tangled inside the barrels, and then I brought him down. Now there is some, I don't have to make soldier and choice of profession here. I did the same action with number 20, my charismatic style, and the same action with charismatic style is just choice of profession twice. But the results are the same. The opponent cannot have the immunity of great, beast, undead, or demon. One of the other aspects in the game is that the monsters can be described with immunities of this is a great monster, or this is a beast, or this is undead, or this is a demon, or an undead demon, or a great demon. And so those need to be eliminated from the enemies before you actually play them. You have to make them mortal. And as you become a higher level, you're going to have harder and harder enemies to beat. That goblin that you're facing down at level 1 could become an ogre as a great goblin later on at level 3 or wherever the referee starts to see. In solo play, I probably wouldn't inflict that much damage on myself now. And we move on, and I have killed one guy, or maybe I want to use the thief I just got and gen up myself a scholar with magic. Why don't we demonstrate magic? No, I'm trying to reduce a wound, so this is really more the fact that I need to patch the thing with Law 2. I need to change the blood that's coming out into something that will re-heal as skin. So a Law 2, if I break a Law 2, and since I have half of these skills already done, I'm going to say all I need is a regular roll of safe limits, breaking Law 2. But I haven't performed yet any breaking of Law 2. So I probably just need to try it once by rolling 2 dice for a 7. Because I'm stunned, it becomes an 8. Because I'm trying something at first axe, it has no penalty. That's one of the die roll or whatever. And here comes my die rolls. And I need an 8. And I rolled a 9, so I performed a first act of Law 2 trying to heal myself, but I haven't healed that bleeder yet. Did I lessen it? No, I really didn't lessen it yet, because that's what I'm trying to do by the act. But I no longer have the thief in play. Still I have my mariner in play, and if I can make my berserker roll, I could still kill that second guy. This is all on turn 3? Turn 3 or turn 4. Here comes my 2 dice looking for a 10 to activate my berserker. 9, missed it. And I missed it double 4. So what is that? That's harm. That's failing with doubles. I got to go back to my combat table here. And this is probably where I'm going to leave it. Saki pair. It's working okay. I could probably gut my way out of it. 11. At 11 is I'm unnerved. Ooh, it's going down quick. Going forward, suffer harm on any double, not just the ones that fail. Ooh. At least with that harm, I think I read this before, I can eliminate this from myself. Right here. So my charismatic style, choice of both, can eliminate the unnerved. Now, unfortunately, I don't even have the footnote. So if no harm has been suffered, then I could do charismatic style like an uncontested dagger thrust. But now, because I'm unnerved, I've lost my ability to injure the enemy with charismatic style. And I could do it as well if I was more versatile, if I had gone up a level and picked soldier as my second skill. I could do it here with ascetic and soldier. I rally someone stunned. Nobody's stunned. I am stunned. Recover yourself from unnerved. Berserker and choice of profession. I can actually do that. If I don't roll ones. Well, I'll spare you the drama of that, and I'll edit this up and put it up as a first act. It looks like it's got a lot of potential. I just need to tweak it in beta. More later.